Well, I finally did it. I broke down and I bought a SOG knife. And I have to tell you, this is the sharpest knife I have ever unboxed. Just maybe not in the way you're thinking. Okay, so a little backstory. I've been trying to find one knife from every brand that I really like genuinely. So SOG has been one of those holdout brands that I've not really found something I like. SOG and Gerber are two of the brands that I haven't really found one that really connects with me. But I saw this on sale at a crazy price for S35 VN, like under $80 for a crossbar style lock, okay, that has carbon fiber handles, S35 VN, and a nice form factor. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try it. And honestly, I don't fully dislike the action. But there's a problem with this knife that I've never seen. Well, honestly, I have been reviewing knives for a while now. Everything from $10 knives all the way up to $400, $500, $600 knives. And this is the first time I've encountered it to such an extent. But this knife is sharp. And I'm not talking about on the blade. I mean, the blade is actually pretty decent, and actually they've done a pretty good job. That's perfectly fine. Holy moly, these edges are sharp. Like all the way across the back, and the corner here is the absolute worst one of all. So I'm just using some of my nail, you can see. This corner here is really sharp. I mean, like the edges on this are insane. All the way around it. This carbon fiber is sharp. Except for right here. Okay, sorry. They chamfered it right here. You can see. Right there. See, you can see that. That's chamfered. Nothing else is. Okay, so they did this angle. They did that angle. And then they're like, oh, that's good enough. And it's not just that. This crossbar, I'm sorry, this flipper tab has one of the sharpest edges like ever. Like, I could strike a ferro rod on this, no problem. So it's the same edge here. It is, like, very sharp. So if you're doing a forward, choke up position, you really feel those edge. I mean, it's not, it's not LT Wright, sharp on an edge. Like, if you've ever seen one of the spines of one of his knives, they're, like, super, super sharp. It's not like that, okay? It's not quite that sharp. But, like, it's funny because this has been nicely rounded. The one place it really doesn't need it, I actually like it to be a little sharper on the edges up here. And then for some reason, everything else is sharp. So let me back up a little bit. I like this knife. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the XR lock style knives. I'm hoping that the less expensive G10 version of this knife does not have these issues. I haven't tried them myself, but I am hoping that's the case because I actually really like how they've done it. I like that the pocket clip goes all the way around, making it an ultra deep carry. It's a nice way to do it. I really like the texturing on the button. I think these are really, really comfortable and enjoyable to grip and use. So I like that quite a bit. The action is very, very good. The flipper tab is good. All of this is great and all. I'm just debating one thing. Am I ready to take a sanding block to the edges on this thing? And I think the answer is yes. I think it's absolutely savable. And at the price point that I got it at, I'm more than content to knock down the edges on the carbon fiber handles. It will look a little bit different in shade right there at the edge, but one of the reasons I'm using a sanding block is it'll keep the material from accidentally rubbing up against the smooth surface, right? They can kind of keep it away when I do it. And this will still cause it to shape shape into the proper way. So that's why I'm using a sanding block to do it. I think I am going to try to save it because it's $74. I'm not going to bother to return it. But if you bought this at full price, which I think was like $140 or something ridiculous, I would be ticked off. Oh my God, I would be not happy, very not happy. I would immediately return this knife if I had paid the full price MSRP of it. But at 74, I mean, This is cheaper than some Sabibi knives with Nitro V and G10. So at this price, I'm going to absolutely modify it to get it where I want it. I just thought this was just the craziest thing I've seen in a while from a major brand. I mean, the sharpness on these edges is kind of nuts. And I have $20 knives, not on the table right now, but I have $20 knives that don't have remotely these issues. And I would call them issues, especially right here where it kind of goes into your palm. You really feel that scraping along your skin, and it's not a very enjoyable experience. So I think if they had just knocked down the back corners right here, I probably wouldn't have noticed it as much. But it really shows up here as well when you start to squeeze or you kind of get a little bit of a pinch. And so, yes, I like it. Okay, so I will say I do like it. I just don't understand why everything is so damn sharp. Okay? Now, speaking of sharpness, I mean, I guess we could check the actual edge, right? The actual edge is also really sharp. Very nice. Very good. Like, right? The edge is good. The edge is good. But, you know, the sharpness of this edge pales in comparison to the sharpness of the scales. All right. True story, though. I don't know how long these are going to be on sale. They're, you know, under $80 for S35 is pretty ludicrous. You know, whenever we see something from Cold Steel start to drop into those crazy ranges in S35, it's notable. This is another one of those knives that maybe is on its way out or something like that. I don't know. I mean, God knows what SOG's doing. But is it a good pickup for under 80, even with these issues? Oh, God. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, come on. This is a relatively simple fix, right? I can definitely go outside and take this to the carbon fiber scales. One thing I'm going to have to do is take off the pocket clip first, which you unscrew here, and that holds into the pocket clip. Very, very cool design. And I'm going to have to open the blade, so I'm going to have to be careful about that, but absolutely doable. Absolutely doable. I should also mention you should not attempt to sand carbon fiber in a closed space unless you really like sucking in glass, okay? Like fibers. So please, don't do that. It's a bad idea. Go outside. If you need, put on a little ventilation mask if you're going to get your face down in there and actually like looking really close. But I wouldn't do that either because that stuff in your lungs is going to pale in comparison to carbon fiber in your eyes. So just be careful when you do this, that you do it outside, that you make sure you wash your hands before you touch your face. Carbon fiber, fiberglass, G10, all of these materials are not ones you want to mess around with if you're not in the right location. So just a warning if you decide to fix this yourself. That's pretty much it. Do I like this knife? I like the shape of it. I like that there's a slightly longer handle than I sometimes get with 3-inch blades. I actually prefer to have that sort of larger handle with a smaller blade because it's much more comfortable and I get a lot more real estate. I prefer that personally, and I think they've done a good job with the XR lock. Nice, stout, thick blade, and I would imagine, and it's also a flat grind. I think it's a flat grind. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I would imagine that the D2 version of this at 50 is probably not bad either. I've heard pretty decent things with it, which is partially why I got this. That's pretty much it for today. Pretty much all you want to know. This is the sharpest knife I have tested in a long time. Just not in the way I expected. So as always, guys, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.